before this video begins, long story short, I made some stupid mistakes and accidentally deleted my Instagram account. Pretty gutting, seeing as I have more than 300 people following me on there, including some of my favourite musicians. But whether you were already following me or not, it would be greatly appreciated if you followed the link in the description and gave the page a follow. I fairly regularly post music-related content on there. Anyway, on with the video. It has been a while. Hey everyone, Joey here, aka Animus, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be reviewing an exhibition I went to recently at the Design Museum. Electronic from Kraftwerk to the Chemical Brothers. Yeah, doing an exhibition, why not? I mean, it's pretty closely associated with music, and in particular my musical interests. Electronic music is basically what got me into music in the first place. It's been a long-term fascination / borderline obsession of mine for multiple years. So seeing that there was an exhibition coming out all to do with electronic music and its history, thought, why not? Let's give it a shot. So I went into London with my friend and experienced this. How did it turn out? Well, if you want the short answer, this is the best exhibition I've ever been to. I mean, it's not that surprising looking at my interests, but I had so much fun at this place. It didn't feel like a museum or educational thing at all. It was like the closest thing you can get to going to a gig in lockdown. Yeah, it came at exactly the right time, seeing as we can't go to big concerts at the moment, because the informative sections of the exhibition were massively broken up by these awesome spectacles designed by different artists and musical acts. Guess I'll try and jog my memory and give a more in-depth explanation of what it was like then. The first room was the most text-filled room, and even then it was like not boring at all. It was this big timeline of electronic music starting from, what was it, like with the earliest equipment designed all the way to modern times and everything in between. As well as things to read, though, there were plenty of things to look at in this place as well, namely a recreation of Jean-Michel Jarre's actual studio. Like, my god. One of many things here I saw and just went, whoa, I'm actually standing in front of this actual thing. It is something to be noted that they did focus less on the very early electronic experimentation and the foundation of the genre. Although I do think for most people this is kind of a good thing, seeing as they managed to focus on the more exciting areas of electronic music and also the ones more people know about. We also got the first of many screens where you had to bring your headphones and plug them in to watch these videos, most of which were pretty interesting, like music videos and people playing instruments. God, I've missed out so many things, but I cannot talk about everything because there was so much to look at. The next kind of significant thing we saw was the actual suits they used for Got to Keep On by the Chemical Brothers. Managed to get up really close to them. Then there was a room where we actually got to put on 3D glasses and sit in front of a massive screen displaying the Kraftwerk 3D The Catalogue videos. One of multiple things at the exhibition that were on these massive cycles. Like, I was pretty happy to see bits of Computer World, but if I came back another time, I'd get to see lots of different things in that room. Okay, I'm not going to be able to remember absolutely everything in chronological order, but I'll do my best. Afterwards, I think there were lots of different posters and relics from old famous nightclubs and things. There was this really interesting piece of art by, I think they're called 1024, this art group or whatever you call them, which was basically a metal cube which, when you walk past it, suddenly springs into action and makes all of these different shapes and expands and dances under strobe lights, which was pretty fun to watch. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, the whole thing had this big booming soundtrack. I think, who was it done by? I'll put it on screen. Then we walk past stuff like a giant rotating skull with mirrors on it, a whole wall dedicated to Underworld. Then we got to the next immersive experience, and probably the most exciting room in the entire exhibition, another piece of art by 1024, which was like this pitch black room with all of these, it was like a forest of poles coming up from the ground, all of which had all these big rows of LED lights on them, which would make these amazing shapes like waves going up and down, and bright big colors, and this massive cycling playlist, actually multiple different playlists. Again, another thing that I could come back to and get a whole different experience. This time they were playing Second Summer of Love, which I was pretty pleased with, seeing as I got to see people like Orbital and 808 State. And yeah, the pitch blackness of this room really made you feel like you were floating around in a dream world. It was really trippy. Then there was a room where they had all these different masks that electronic musicians had used. Like, not the Daft Punk helmets, that would have been amazing, but they had two different Aphex Twin masks like he uses for the videos. Of course, that wasn't face swapping, was it? I always assumed it was face swapping, but it would have been too early for that. So they had these ultra realistic masks that were actually really eerie. And then they also had the Chemical Brothers mask used for Mad as Hell, the weird pig thing with the crown. And eventually the final room was like an experience of Got to Keep On by the Chemical Brothers. Well, it was like trying to put you in the shoes of someone who was at a Chemical Brothers concert watching it, and that it did brilliantly. There was this big display and these massive walls of strobe lights either side of you, and even that, I don't know if they used a mirror ball in the actual show, but they had a mirror ball hanging from the ceiling, which they put lights on and it would spin around and light up the room. It was awesome. And they had the beams of light that appear from the people in the suits when they go like that. And in that build-up, yes, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, the strobing got really, really intense in the room. I personally enjoyed it, but you would not want to go there if you had epilepsy. And yeah, I left feeling extremely satisfied and with the same buzzy feeling you get after you've seen a proper live show. So to summarise, this is the closest experience you'll get to going to a proper live concert during lockdown. I think it's going to satisfy basically all fans of electronic music. There's a wide variety of genres covered, and there's like nothing to criticize here. They did it so perfectly. The only thing I would have liked to see a bit more of was ambient music, experimental music, maybe something a bit less harsh and in your face and a bit more pretty and dreamy. Although they did, I saw, have a playlist called something along the lines of our ambient and experimental in that room with all of the lights, and this might have kind of alienated some people. So yeah, they barely could have done this any better. I immensely enjoyed the experience, and I'm sure you will too. In fact, if you're not even into electronic music, I'm sure this could even convert you successfully. Not going to give this a rating out of 10 or anything, but I would highly, highly suggest you go and check out Electronic. And yeah, that's all from me today.